Yo, 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 yo. It's your boy Jew. We back. It's been a minute, but we back with what's the word? Dirty Bird. I'm gonna be pulling up on you guys probably around 11, 12 on each Tuesday. I've had some things going on, family, getting over being sick. Also, we had Valentine's Day, so I've been missing in action as far as the live shows, but I'm gonna be giving you guys some live streams. I had some adjusting to do as far as with my 9 to 5, so I'm gonna be pulling up on you guys more often, especially during the off season, because we got a lot to talk about. We got the draft coming up, we got free agency coming up, so I'm gonna be pulling up on you guys, giving you guys more content, more live videos. So definitely want to hit that like button, want to hit that subscribe button, want to hit that notification bell so you'll know when I went, when I'm going live. But today we're gonna talk about quarterbacks because that's really the elephant in the room for this Atlanta Falcons team. But I'm gonna jump in the chat and say what's up to you guys as well as you guys join in. But definitely hit that like button for your boy, hit that subscribe button for your boy. The subscribes is free, y'all. So hit that subscribe button for your boy. It helps the algorithm when you guys hit that like button and hit that subscribe button and share out my content. But I really appreciate each and every one of you guys for your continued support, not just here on my channel, but also the Heavy Hitters Live channel. Y'all go and hit that subscribe button there as well. And also hit that subscribe button for AFN and all the affiliated channels that do this Atlanta Falcons content, NFL content. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. But I'm gonna just go and jump in the chat really quick. So shouts out to Georgia boy. What's going on, man? I appreciate you joining me. I hope you guys are having a good week so far. What's up, Big Ant? What's going on, man? I appreciate you joining me. I'm Vaughn says, yo, what's going on, man? Xavier Littman, what's happening, man? I appreciate you joining. I hope everybody's enjoying your day. Engine number 9, what's going on? I appreciate you joining as well. And Wyatt Carlson, I appreciate you joining me, man. But like I said, man, definitely share out my content. But we're gonna jump right into things because we got a lot to talk about. But we're gonna strictly just stick with the quarterbacks and what should our Atlanta Falcons do, at this quarterback situation or position. We know last season we had Desmond Ritter, Taylor Heineke. Both of those guys. We played the quarterback carousel with those two guys last year. But I feel like with this new regime coming in, with Raheem Morris now as the head coach and Zach Robinson running the offense, I really feel like it's imperative that this Atlanta Falcons team figure out what we're going to do at the quarterback position. I really feel like we can't afford to go into this season without a plan. It really feels like last season, for whatever reason, Arthur Smith and those guys, it just seemed like they didn't have a plan. To me, it felt like it was just too many knee-jerk decisions and reactions as far as them bitching Desmond Ritter. So at this point, I really still don't have a bead on if Desmond Ritter could be that next, franchise guy for our Atlanta Falcons because he didn't play out the full season. He was, benched, then brought back, then benched again. So we really didn't get the full evaluation or a fair evaluation of Desmond Ritter. And I would actually like to see Desmond Ritter under Zach Robinson or under another offensive coordinator to see whether it was the plays that were being called or whether it was more Desmond Ritter. We did see on Twitter, I seen somebody had posted like all of our red zone, all Desmond Ritter's red zone passes from last season. And I really feel like, those little clips and highlight reels and things of that nature can be deceiving because it's not really the all 22 where you can see what receivers are open. On a lot of the plays that I seen in the red zone, it looked like they were bad schemes. I do think that there were times, of course, where they could have been guys open, tight ends, wide receivers, running backs, or whether he could have tucked and ran. But I really feel like that can be catch 22 when you're just posting screenshots and you can't really see the all 22 film of if anybody's open, if he's missing reads and things of that nature. So I really feel like we have to be careful when we just make assumptions off of, what we're seeing on Twitter and of screenshots and things of that nature and not actually going back and looking at the real film. And my issue last season, with the Atlanta Falcons as far as the offensive play calling. To me, it just was we didn't stick with the running game. We didn't stick with our identity. I feel like early in the season, we relied on the running game. We used our running back in the games that we won. We used the running game to open up the pass. But then for whatever reason, like midstream through the season, we got pass happy in the red zone instead of, running Tyler Algier, running Cordell Patterson, running guys like Bijan Robinson. We went away from that. So I really feel like it's imperative in this season that we go after and find out who's going to be the quarterback and stand 10 toes down on the decision. Once you make that decision of what's your guy, the guy that you're going to roll with, ride it out with that guy. Give that person or that player the opportunity to grow throughout the season. The part of development that I really feel like we didn't get to see with Desmond Ridder is we seen him fail, but I really feel like he didn't get an opportunity to bounce back. We seen like soon as he started to fail, as soon as he started to make mistakes, we kind of had that knee jerk reaction where like, let's go ahead and bench him and let's go to Taylor Heineke instead of seeing, what he did after he failed. Because that's usually when you find out how good a player is and what their mental makeup is when they struggle, can they bounce back and can they perform under pressure? And we've seen in a lot of the games early in the season, in that Green Bay game being down, I believe 10 in the fourth quarter, we've seen under pressure in the fourth quarter, he made good decisions as far as Desmond Ridder. But with that being said, I'm going to want to jump right back in the chat really quick just to say what's up. So 1/3 of the heavy hitters, my boy Six Man, he says the minister in the building. Most definitely, man. I appreciate you joining me as well. But with that being said, this is not going to just be the Desmond Ridder show. I do kind of want to give my thoughts on what I think the Atlanta Falcons should do at that quarterback position, because at this point, the ship has sailed with the last regime as far as Arthur Smith, him being let go and him now the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive coordinator. So if I'm Terry Fontenot, if I'm sitting in that GM seat as the Atlanta Falcons, if I'm in the front office, personally, out of all of the guys that I've watched as far as the prospects at the quarterback position, Jaden Daniels is the guy that I'm going with if I'm the GM of our Atlanta Falcons. I really feel like he would be the best fit because he's one of those guys that not only can throw the ball from the pocket, but he also can create with his legs outside of the pocket. And he's one of those guys that I think that would fit well in any offense, but really fit well in this Atlanta Falcons scheme, because we know that the NFL is kind of moving away from the traditional pocket passer, and you have to be able to move a little bit because the defensive players are more athletic nowadays. The defensive linemen, these guys are running 4.4, 4.5, 40s, and these guys can get after your quarterback. And you can't expect your offensive line to be perfect at all times. You have to have a quarterback at times that can improvise and make plays with their legs outside of the pocket, not just running, but throwing the football. I really feel like Jaden Daniels would be the guy that I would go with. I'm willing to trade up for Jaden Daniels, maybe to that third or fourth slot if a team is willing to trade back. If I'm Terry Fontenot, right now, Jaden Daniels is the number one quarterback out of these this current crop of quarterbacks that I've seen. I really feel like it's unrealistic to believe you're going to be able to get Caleb Williams. I do think the Chicago Bears are going to draft him. So, it's wishful thinking to think that you'll have a chance at getting the Caleb Williams or trading up to number one. I did see something today on Twitter that I thought was really hilarious. And I posted it or retweeted it. It was someone talking about the Falcons trading up to one and giving up our first round pick, Bijan Robinson, a second round pick, a first round pick in 2025. Like, I'm like, you want everything and our firstborn. Like, if I'm the Falcons, I really don't think it's realistic to think that the Bears are going to even allow anybody to trade up and get that number one position. I really feel like at this point, Justin Fields is going to be traded to another team. I think that they're going to go ahead and try to draft Caleb Williams because of the pressure from the media. I don't necessarily think that the Bears don't believe in Justin Fields, but I really feel like they're feeling the pressure of if Caleb Williams comes into the league and becomes the next Patrick Mahomes, becomes one of those guys that all of the draft prospects are stating that he is, you don't want to be that team that passed up on Caleb Williams. Now, personally, I don't necessarily agree with that logic because the Bears has not proven that they can develop a quarterback. So if I were the Bears, I would trade out of that pick. I would keep Justin Fields and I would build my team around Justin Fields and use those picks to rebuild that defense and add weapons around Justin Fields. But at this point, I think that ship, has sailed as well. I think that the writing's kind of on the wall, and I figure the Bears are going to try to trade out of that pick. But for our Atlanta Falcons, just getting back to that, personally, I think Jaden Daniels is the guy that I would go with if I were the Falcons. If you somehow, some way can trade up, to me, I think he'll be the best fit. I feel like any quarterback that we draft, you kind of will be putting them in a good situation because the Falcons, we're in a unique situation that we have the wide receivers, we have a good offensive line, you have good running backs. So we basically have built the structure to drop any quarterback in a position where they can succeed as long as the play calling is good, and long as the play calling fits what the actual quarterback can do. I really feel like any quarterback you draft or you bring in, whether it's a veteran or not, I think that they'll have success here in Atlanta because the pieces are already in place. Even with a Justin Fields, I know we've been seeing, Justin Fields' name out there. He's no longer following the Bears on Twitter. He's following the Atlanta Falcons, all these different things. I even feel like a Justin Fields could work in Atlanta, but it goes back to what, Mad Mike, it goes back to what K Styles was stating last night. You're only going to have that one season to really figure out if Justin Fields is that guy before you have to pay him big money. And personally, I'm not in the business for giving away money. I'm not in the business for just giving away draft picks personally. I'm in the line of thinking of the benefit of having a Desmond Ritter, a benefit of drafting one of these young guys. And this is something that you've heard us say numerous times, is you have that 5-year or 4-year period where you can figure out, develop that guy, figure out if he's the guy before you have to give him that 200 $300 million contract. So if I'm the Atlanta Falcons in that GM seat, I feel like the best move would be to draft one of these young kids. If you don't believe that Desmond Ritter is your guy, if you believe Desmond Ritter is your guy, I would play Desmond Ritter and bring in another veteran to back him up, similar to what you did in Taylor Heineke. If you think that Desmond Ritter can develop into something, I don't believe in bringing in a veteran, Russell Wilson, for the next 2-3 years, and you have Desmond Ritter on the bench, backing him up, because what you're not thinking about, or what I think a lot of fans are not thinking about, is yes, you can, bring in a veteran and then have Desmond Ritter on the bench learning from that guy, but you don't benefit from the fact that you have Desmond Ritter currently under a rookie deal where you could let him be your starter, continue being the starter of the Falcons, and continuing to build your team around that. You can go in and spend a lot of that money on the defense. You can spend a lot of money on adding another wide receiver or adding, whatever the ancillary piece you feel like this team is missing. So the benefit of having Desmond Ritter as the starter and keeping him here as the starter is basically you have him under that rookie contract where you have that opportunity to build all around him. And then if he doesn't pan out, you always can go out and draft another quarterback, because there are going to be other quarterbacks in later drafts and other drafts like Deion Sanders' son, Shador, that'll come out in the next couple seasons, next year, I believe, or the year after that. There's always going to be, good prospects coming out. So the mere fact of, well, let's bring in a Kirk Cousins, or let's bring in one of these veteran guys and put Desmond Ritter on the bench, that kind of defeats the purpose of that rookie contract. And that's similar to what we're seeing right now with the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love. They had him sitting back behind Aaron Rodgers, where really they could have cut bait with Aaron Rodgers earlier on in his contract, before he got all of that money. They could have possibly paid Devontae Adams and let and let Love be that starting quarterback, because now we're seeing they didn't benefit from Jordan Love being the backup when he was under that rookie contract, where they could have really built their full team, built that defense, built that offense, and possibly had a better roster around a Jordan Love, because they were paying Aaron Rodgers all that money that they were paying him. So they eventually lost guys like Devontae Adams. They eventually lost, big name free agents that they could have kept on that roster. So that's the thing that I want a lot of you fans to think about as far as the Desmond Ritter thing. We have to look at it, not just from the surface level, but take a deeper dive, take a deeper look into it, of what the benefits could be if you keep Desmond Ritter here as your starter, you have that money where you can go out and build this team around him. So my two lines of thinking for this Atlanta Falcons team at that quarterback position, your best option is either sticking with Desmond Ridder if you think that he can turn into being something. You could have the option of drafting a quarterback, and then if all else fails, if you don't like those two options, my third option would be trading for a Justin Fields or bringing in a veteran. But my first line of thinking for this Atlanta Falcons team would be draft your guy. So if you think one of these young guys could be, Zach Robinson in the front office and Raheem Morris, if they watch these guys on film and they fall in love with a Drake May, if they fall in love with a Jaden Daniels, or one of these guys, they fall in love with a Michael Penix, any of these guys that's in this current draft, if you think that that's your guy, I say at 8, you have to, take that big swing. Even if you have to trade up, you have to take the swing because you have the pieces on offense already set in place. You always can add on the defense. It's other picks in the draft that you can build your team. So you don't have to just use that first round pick. You're going to have second, third, fourth round picks where you can build, fill out the defense and fill out those other positions that you need. But I really feel like the focal point of this draft needs to be figuring out the quarterback position, because I feel like in the last regime, that was one of the things that they failed at, is they never really figured out. To me, it just looked like they really didn't have a plan of who they wanted to be the quarterback and how that was going to all play out. The way that things kind of crumbled last season with Desmond Ridder and with the quarterback carousel in the middle of the season, it just looked like those guys, Arthur Smith, Dave Ragone, it just looked like they had no plan for Desmond Ridder, or if things didn't work out, they didn't have a plan for what they wanted to do. But with that being said, I want to jump into the chat really quick because I know I've been giving my little soliloquy here. And shouts out to the therapist. What's going on? ATL in the building. Y'all go and hit that like and subscribe button on his channel as well. He does great content. Shouts out to my boy Mad Mike. He said, Juju on that beat. Yeah, what's going on, man? I appreciate y'all joining. Tony Wright says, I think it's going to be hard for us to draft Jaden Daniels because he will be going to Washington at 2. I'm not sure about that. I think that they could fall in love with Drake May. But if they don't, I wouldn't even mind trading up for Drake May. I know that sounds crazy, but I think Drake May is for what I've seen of him, I think he's going to turn out to be a pretty good pro. Tony Rice says the only quarterback that I like for the Falcons are Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix, but the Falcons also need to sign a free agent quarterback, Kirk Cousins, to 2 years and have a young quarterback sit and learn. I like Jaden Daniels. I'm not a big Bo Nix fan. You guys know that I did watch Bo Nix at Auburn. He was an Auburn Tiger at one point, and then he did a transfer to Oregon. He played well in Oregon, but my thing with Bo Nix is he better than what you currently have? That's my biggest issue with like some of these guys that we currently have. Some of these guys that are currently in the draft, like we're looking at Michael Penix, Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy. To me, those 3 or 4 guys that I just named, to me, I can't definitely say that those guys are better than Desmond Ridder. So that's my, thing with drafting, like sitting at 8 and drafting whoever's left. I'd rather have my pick of the litter than sit back at 8 and then whoever's left, falls in my lap. I'm just going to draft them. Unless you have the similar grades for those guys in the draft, meaning all of those guys are pretty much even in your, in your book. And if they're even on the draft board, and then at that point, you just sit back at 8 and you just let somebody fall into your lap. But as far as Bo Nix, as far as JJ McCarthy, as far as Michael Penix, those 3 guys, to me, I'm not sure if those guys are better than Desmond Ridder. The guys like Drake May, who's 6'5", 220 pounds, is a freak athlete. A guy like Jaden Daniel, who runs like a 4.3 or 4.4 40, can throw the ball, has a strong arm. And Caleb Williams. To me, those guys are, I feel like more talented as far as they're more athletic than Desmond Ridder. So you have a reason, or you can justify drafting one of those guys high, or even justify drafting them. I don't think you can really justify drafting Bo Nix. I can't see you justify drafting the JJ McCarthy if you have a Desmond Ridder on your team. Not if I'm the GM. If I'm the GM, that's not justified, because it's funny how a lot of the fans we say that Desmond Ritter is not it. Desmond Ritter isn't good, but if you compare Desmond Ritter's last season or his best college season to the guys that we are clamoring for, Desmond Ritter's numbers match up with a lot of these guys. So Desmond Ritter in another draft possibly would have been a first round draft pick, depending on what draft it was. So I really feel like we got to be careful when we just make assumptions that these guys that are currently in college are better than these guys in the pros. Because we've seen, even with Justin Fields, his numbers in college were great. But if you look at his numbers in college compared to as far as his completion percentage and things of that nature, a lot of his numbers dipped from the college to the NFL. Those numbers are usually going to dip. Your numbers are not going to get better or stay the same usually, because it's just a step up. The NFL is the best of the best. You're not going to be playing against those lower tier schools, where you're going to put up 500 yards passing. So that's the one thing I think we got to be very careful of just assuming that these other quarterbacks that are highly touted, the Bo Nix, the JJ McCarthy's that won a national championship last year. I think a lot of people are making assumptions that those guys are going to step in the NFL and do what CJ Stroud did. When I keep saying CJ Stroud was an anomaly, CJ Stroud is not the norm. What he was able to do coming in and, balling out with the Houston Texans, that rarely happens. You don't see that a lot in the NFL where guys come in, even guys like the likes of Peyton Manning led the league in interceptions his first year, threw a crazy number of interceptions. So thinking that you're going to be, CJ Stroud, or you're going to draft the next CJ Stroud, though, that's wishful thinking. Like, even if you take Jaden Daniels or one of the guys that I really like in this draft, a Drake May, a Caleb Williams, those guys may struggle their first couple seasons. So don't be surprised if you see a Caleb Williams come in and throw double-digit interceptions his first season if he's drafted by Chicago. That's probably going to happen. Don't be surprised if his completion percentage goes down. Don't be surprised if he doesn't put up 4,000 yards passing, because it's levels to it. He's gonna have to learn. He's gonna have to come in and take his lumps. And that was my biggest issue, going back to when I talked about, Desmond Ritter, is I don't feel like the last regime really gave Desmond Ritter time, and the fans didn't allow him to take his lumps and learn. That's the only way you learn, is going out there and making those mistakes. And that's my biggest issue with bringing in another veteran guy like we did with Marcus Mariota. If you bring in another guy and put them in front of Desmond Ritter, you don't learn. You know, you learn best by going out there and making mistakes in the game, not just watching other quarterbacks or the starter make the mistakes. You need to go out there and feel that speed of the game, feel that pressure when it's the fourth quarter and the ball's in your hands and you got to make the right decision. You got to go out there to feel that. Just watching somebody else do it, usually you're not going to understand those situations until you're put in those situations and you make a mistake or you make a big play. And I want to jump back into the chat here. So Prince Kel 89. So what's the word, Jew? What's going on, man? I appreciate you joining. DirtyBird for life. Yeah, we midday. What's going on, man? I appreciate you joining. Let's see. He says, I like Jaden Daniels or Drake May. Yeah, I like both of those guys. I like Drake May. I like Jaden Daniels as well. And Tony Wright says the Atlanta Falcons also need to reach and re-sign Calais Campbell. Also sign a young free agent defensive end, AJ Espinoza. No, I'm good on AJ Espinoza. I seen someone do a video stating AJ Espinoza. I really don't want AJ Espinoza, to be honest. I think he played with Buffalo, but I don't really think he had a whole lot of success in Buffalo. If I were going to go after anybody that was drafted in his class, it would have been Russo. I think he plays with Buffalo as well. Gregory Rousseau is who I wanted in that draft over AJ Espinoza, but I definitely think that Calais Campbell, from what I heard, Terry Fontenot already reached out to Calais Campbell, but Calais Campbell said he's going to let him know, basically. Like, he doesn't know if he wants to play again. So I feel like if he does eventually end up playing again, I could see Calais Campbell coming back, because we were right there on the surface, 7-10, 7-10, 7-10 with the team that we have, and then you're going to add to the team from last year, and then you'll have possibly better quarterback play, better play calling, or better coaching. I really feel like last year A lot of the games we lost was just bad situations, bad turnovers. If any of those games go a different way, those one possession games, you easily win the division if you win that Cardinals game, if you win that Minnesota Vikings game, which both of those games you lost because you couldn't bring down the quarterback. Like the last play of the game, you couldn't stop Kyler Murray for scrambling on fourth and forever. He scrambles for like 30 yards and gets a first down. And then you had the play where Josh Dobbs literally ran all over us in that Vikings game. So to me, that was a turning point in the season. When we lost those two games, when they benched Desmond Ritter and you played the Vikings, you played the Cardinals, those were the two back-breaking games where I feel like the season started to turn, where the Falcons lost two games they had no business losing. Let's see here. Engine number 9 says I seen that the LA Rams picked up Ragon as they OC. Now I think they picked him up as their quarterbacks coach, but I wish him nothing but the best. I don't have much negative to say. I just say keep him away from calling the plays. Because if he was the one calling those plays or helping Arthur Smith call plays, they weren't good. A lot of those plays that he ran were not good plays. So if I wish Dave Ragon nothing but the best, but he's the quarterbacks coach of the Rams, even though I really don't know how much he's going to be coaching necessarily or doing because they have Matthew Stafford. So he's a veteran. What can you really teach Matthew Stafford at this point? That dude's a veteran. He's been around the game. So you ain't really doing a whole lot of teaching in that quarterback room outside of, the younger guys they have. But Matthew Stafford, he's one of those guys that's been around the league for a really long time at this point. And Jerry Bowie, what's going on, man? I appreciate you joining. I hope everybody has hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for your boy. I appreciate each and every one of you guys joining me. I know it was kind of like a pop-up show, but I'm gonna be doing this a lot more on Tuesdays. As I mentioned, I did have some adjustments to my work schedule. So Tuesdays, y'all should expect content, live, me going live and things of that nature moving forward, at least for the time being. And Beasley says, I like Drake May. He gives me Justin Herbert vibes. Most definitely. Yeah, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen. I feel like he gives me those vibes because he's 6'5", 220 pounds. And that's what I was talking about. If you go look at, the way that he played in college, Drake May is one of those guys that I think is going to be a really good prospect. I don't know if he's better than Jaden Daniels or if he's better than a Caleb Williams, but I think he's right there behind those guys. And I think depending on what situation, what team drafts him, I think he could be really, really special because people are not really paying attention to Justin Herbert. Yes, he's put up big numbers, but he hasn't won. He hasn't been really winning anything. So yes, you can be a great talent, but it just depends on the situation that you're in. I say that all the time. It depends on the coaching staff. It depends on the front office. It depends on the teammates around you. It's bigger than just that one player. And what's going on, Anthony? I appreciate you joining as well. And Uncle Steve's now says, "What's up, Jew? I love your opinion. 1 and 3 for quarterback. If there was a scenario for Ritter to continue to grow, I think Arthur would stay and brought in a new OC. I'm open to DR as quarterback 2 or quarterback 3, maybe. Yeah, man. I mean, and I appreciate you joining me. Y'all definitely go hit that subscribe button on Uncle Steve's Lounge on his channel as well. But when it comes to that, I mean, I feel like when it comes to Desmond Ritter, I just feel like he got a raw deal in the whole situation. So I really want to see him with a different coaching staff. I'm not saying that would be my number one, him as the starter this year. I feel like you got to bring in competition, but I would leave that up to Raheem Morris. I would leave that up to Terry Fontenot, and I would leave that up to this coaching staff. If they don't think that he can get it done, then I feel like you need to go ahead and draft your guy. But I wouldn't fool around with what we did the last couple seasons where you just bringing in journeyman quarterbacks. Okay, we're going to try Ryan Tannehill. We're going to try this guy. We're going to try that guy. If you're going to do that, you might as well try Ritter again. If you're going to just keep trying with just anybody. I'm not going to just keep just bringing in guys and also just throwing money away. Because like I made a video about Kirk Cousins where I was stating I wouldn't mind Kirk Cousins being the Falcons' next quarterback if you're going to go with a veteran, because to me he would fit, the scheme that the Rams run. If we're going to run something similar to that, where it's 3 wide receiver sets, 1 running back, and you're going to do a lot of play action passes, you're going to do a lot of getting the ball out your hand quick and have route runners where you just the point guard and you just delivering the football all across the field. I feel like Kirk Cousins does that really, really well, but he wants $45 million a year. From what I hear, that's the rumors that he wants 45 million guaranteed for 2 seasons, which is $90 million. Do I really want to give Kirk Cousins, a guy coming off of Achilles injury, I believe, at I think he's 35 years old? Do you want to give him that type of money when he really hasn't proven that he can win in the playoffs? He really hasn't proven much in his career other than he can put up big numbers, but it really hasn't equated to wins. And at the end of the day, it's about winning. That's what it's about. It's about winning. So I don't care about what these players look like. I don't care what about, the culture and all of that. I don't care nothing about that. All I really care about is winning. That's what I care about. And I feel like as Falcons fans, we have to be smart enough to realize, what the media is trying to do. The media wants us to just be, because we're the Black Mecca, they want to sell tickets. They want to bring back the Michael Vick experience, and they want to bring back, the excitement. I understand the excitement. Like I said, I don't have nothing against Justin Fields. I don't have nothing against, mobile quarterbacks. I think that mobile quarterbacks is the new wave of the NFL. And I believe you need to have a quarterback that can move and improvise and things of that nature. But at the same time, I think you got to be smart and realize what the media is trying to do. They keep bringing up Justin Fields' name because they're making the comparison to, when Michael Vick was with the Falcons, which is fine, but that ship is sailed. The Michael Vick experience is over. I love Michael Vick. Michael Vick is the reason why I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan to this day. He's the reason I became an Atlanta Falcons fan. But at the end of the day, I just want to win. That's all I want to do. If Justin Fields can come in here and get the job done, then hats off to him. I would bring him in. Oh boy. Prince Kale says, I think Caleb is this year's Malik Willis. If you write about this one, man, you're gonna definitely have to come back on the channel and definitely put it in the chat and remind me that you said you made this statement, because that's a real bold statement. I don't know about that, but if he turns out to be Malik Willis, you was the first person that I heard say that. So you definitely have your own opinion. And one thing I can respect is fans, and I talked about this last night. I put it in the chat during Kev and Mike's live show last night, is fans have to learn how to have their own opinion. Don't go with the media's narrative of players. Do your own homework. Go look up their stats. Go look up their, go watch some of their games. Use the eye test. I use all of that. I use the eye test when I look at players. I use, watching games, watching different scenarios and what the player does. I don't just go by what everybody's saying and what these draft analysts are saying. Draft analysts stated that Zach Wilson was going to be the next great quarterback, and that dude can't play. He's not good. So you can't just go by what, Todd McShay and Mel Kiper and these guys say, because they're human just like us, and that's just their opinion. To me, the quarterback position is one of the hardest positions to gauge how well a guy's going to play, because I didn't see Josh Allen becoming Josh Allen, just to be honest with you guys. At Wyoming, nobody knew that he was going to be a superstar NFL quarterback. Nobody knew. Well, some people knew, but I didn't know that Pat Mahomes was going to be this. I thought he would be successful because he was with Andy Reid, but I didn't see him becoming what he now became, which is right now the best quarterback in the league. He's really the only quarterback that can walk around saying like he's elite. He has that elite tag where nobody can, you pretty much can't argue it at this point. He has that elite tag where he's the best quarterback right now in the NFL. So, and let's see here. Y'all can drop some questions as well in the chat, because I want to do a hard stop at 12. I don't want to go over an hour, but if you guys have some questions too, I'm scrolling through your questions now because I know I've been talking. And Tony Rice says, I hear the Pittsburgh will either try and sign Ryan Tannehill or Russell Wilson. Yeah, I heard that, but that makes sense for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think, because they don't have, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think they have a top 10 draft pick, and then they drafted a first round quarterback a couple years ago in Kenny Pickett. So at this point, I think the way that the Steelers team is built, if I'm not mistaken, they made the playoffs this year. So them drafting a quarterback really doesn't make sense because they're not in the positions to. So I feel like them going with a Ryan Tannehill or Russell Wilson, especially because Arthur Smith is there and has that familiarity with Ryan Tannehill or I think that would kind of work for them. That makes more sense for them than trying to draft, because they're too far down in the draft to try to trade up for one of these younger quarterbacks, the top quarterbacks. And Michael W, what's going on? He says Coach Smith had run his course in Atlanta. The front office and blank must have seen he was out of options. Plus, I don't think he would give up the play calling. He has seen. I have seen he has an ego issue. Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. I mean, we all seen the writing on the wall that with Arthur Smith, and I called it weeks before it happened. I said the man was gonna get fired because I seen he was he had way too many resources, way too many good players to be fumbling the bag the way he was fumbling the bag. The first 2 seasons you gave him the pass because you're in cap hell. The second season you still were kind of trying to get out of that hole. You really didn't have, a full team, so you still were building the team. But then that third year, there's no excuse. All of those games, we had too many winnable games for the Falcons not have won this division and lost the games that you lost. You had no business losing to Minnesota. You had no business losing to the Cardinals. You had no business losing definitely to the Panthers. The Panthers, I think, when they beat us, only had like 1 or 2 wins on the season. You had no business those games. You had no business losing those games. So, at the end of the day, I seen that writing was on the wall. And there it is right there. Big Ant said it best. If we have better situational awareness, then we can win those type of games. Most definitely. That's my thing with Desmond Ritter. One or 2 or 3 mistakes can cost you the game, especially late in the game. So I really feel like at the end of the day, if you get a little bit better play, better decision making, I really feel like you win some of those games that you lost last year. But to me, that's coaching when it comes down to, yes, you don't even put Desmond Ritter in that Panthers game. You don't even put him the ball in his hands in that situation. That's just me personally. Maybe they were believing in him, and maybe they thought, we're gonna make Desmond Ritter the hero. But personally, I'm just like, you don't even put the ball in Desmond Ritter's hands in that situation. When you're in field goal range, you see that we're in the driving rain. It's cold outside. The Panthers haven't scored all day because our defense is doing their thing. Don't even put that Desmond Ritter in that situation. Run the football. You don't get don't get the touchdown. You kick the field goal. You make them drive the length of the field to try to win the game by scoring a touchdown. You don't put them in position by us doing what we did, throw a pick. Now I think they were down 2 at the time. So at that point, they go down and kick a game-winning field goal. That's called being foolish. And here it go right here, Maurice Martin. What's going on? He says, hopefully we will get getting back to running the football and setting up guys in this offense. Yeah, I agree. I don't know what this new regime, like with the Rams, they don't really run a lot of heavy sets like with a fullback, but I still feel like the run sets up everything. If you look at the Kansas City Chiefs and Pacheco, he was the X factor for the Chiefs. When the Chiefs drafted Pacheco, he was that X factor for their team as far as him being able to run the football. If you go back to their first Super Bowl that they won against the 49ers, Damian Williams changed that game by his ability to run the ball. So I really feel like people, overlook defense. They overlook the trenches, the offensive line. They overlook the defensive line and the front seven. And I continue to say this over and over and over again. If you have a good front seven, if you have a good offensive line, a good defensive line, if you're a physical team, because I feel like a lot of people overlook how well that Chiefs defense, how physical that Chiefs defense is. Guys like Chris Jones, guys like George Karlaftis, and even their cornerbacks, guys like Trent McDuffie, guys like Snead on their team. They have guys that are fearless and they will come up and hit you. Their linebacking core, Leo Chanel and those guys, they're really tough defense, a really physical defense. So that's the reason why the Chiefs won. They're a sound football team. They make good decisions and they run the football. Even though Pat Mahomes is a guy that can, dissect you with his arm, I really feel like them drafting Pacheco, he was that X factor that Chiefs offense was missing, because guys like Edwards Hilaire that they have on their team, they're more scat backs. But Pacheco is a guy that's physical, that'll run between run in between the tackles, and he's a fearless, and he's a guy that's hard to bring down, and he has the explosiveness that if he hits a crease, he can take it to the crib. And let's see here. And Michael W says, agree with your summary, Jew. I've been saying all season we did not play to our strengths. The quarterback was not set up to succeed. And then flip flop quarterbacks did not help. Coach did not prepare him. No quarterback coach. Exactly. It was all, some of it falls on Desmond Ritter, because you're the player. You got to go out there and execute. So it wasn't all the coaches 100%, but I'll say it was 90% on the coaches because I'm not putting any first time starting quarterback in those situations that we were putting them in last year. I'm not putting Jaden Daniels or any of these guys that we get this year in those situations. Smart coaches understand if you're a first year starter, I'm not putting you in compromising positions. I don't care if you're the number one overall pick. We're not going to win on your back. If I'm, the head coach or offensive coordinator and I have a first year starting quarterback, we're going to allow you to manage the game. We're not going to allow you to or rely on you to win the games. Let's see. And Bernard, what's going on? He says Kirk Cousins would definitely allow us to see what Pitts is at this point. Most definitely. I mean, we know what Pitts is, and that's why I have no concerns with Kyle Pitts. To be honest with you guys, he was injured last season. I really feel like we've been really, really hard on Kyle Pitts, stating that he's loafing and he's, I really feel like Kyle Pitts, we forgot that he got injured because he's just a freak athlete and he was out there playing. So everybody just assumed he was 100%. I don't believe he was 100% last year, but just that first season with Matt Ryan showed me that a glimpse of how special he could be. So if you get a real quarterback out there that can get him the ball in certain situations, if you can get a offensive coordinator that can call the right plays and put them in the right positions to succeed, meaning scheme guys open, not just rely on he's 6'6", no, you have to put these guys in good situations. And that's where I think that when I say there's levels to this, there's levels to coaching as well. And I think that's what separates Kyle Shanahan from an Andy Reid. You've seen in the at the end of that game, the routes that Andy Reid drew up to get Mecole Hardman wide open at the end of the game. That's called scheme. Has nothing to do with how good a Mecole Hardman is, because Mecole Hardman is just an average wide receiver. But when you have a great coach that understands in certain situations, I'm gonna put this, run this play, and he's gonna be wide open in the flats. That's called good coaching. That's the difference, and that's where it's levels to it. If you look at the Eagles, that was their issue this year. It's like they didn't do a lot of motion. They didn't do a lot of, putting guys in positions to succeed. It was mainly, all right, we're going to line up our guys and they just going to have to beat their guys because we're better. We got A.J. Brown. We got Smitty. We got all of these guys. We're going to just line up and tell those guys just to go out there and beat them instead of, no, let me put this guy in the slot. Let me put him on a third best corner. Let me run this rub route. Like those are the small intricate details that we talk about in football that makes the difference, because everybody in the NFL is athletic. Everybody in NFL is an elite athlete or an elite player. So you got to be, out. Sometimes you have to outsmart the other team by you running your scheme against their scheme. And in certain things, like Andy Reid knew, if I run this route with Mecole Hardman, we ran it last year in the Super Bowl against the Eagles. We had 2 walk-in touchdowns untouched. He saved that last play for the last play of the game in overtime. And it was just the perfect play at the perfect time where the defense was in a compromised position. So that's what I'm looking for out of my offensive coordinator this year. It's not just us always having to rely on our guys out athleticing other guys, but are there guys running open at times? Are there guys that are schemed open? We've seen it in different teams. You see it all the time in Kansas City. You see it at times even with the 49ers. You've seen it in 2016 where you had Levine Toilolo running up the sideline wide open on a throwback tight, a throwback type play to the tight end. Those are the type of things that make the difference in a lot of these games, is you being able to out scheme the other team. It's not always just about we have the better players, because player for player, the Kansas City Chiefs are not better than the 49ers if you just go up and down their roster player for player. But far as scheme, they have a better scheme than the 49ers, especially on offense. Let's see here. What's up? What's up? Wolf said, keep dancing, pimp. What's going on, man? I appreciate you joining me, man. I'm just scrolling down. I'm running my mouth, man. Let's see. What's going on? Liquors with Lenore. He said, what up, Jude? What's going on, man? I ain't seen you in a minute. I appreciate you joining me, man. He said, late to the party. That's all right, man. You can definitely go back and rewatch it. Let's see here. Oh, he want me to drop the link. Hey, man, I'm about to get off here in like 15 minutes, Wolf. But I could try to drop the link. Give me a second. Tony Wright says, we are in really good position at the Falcons. Have two of the best tight ends in football with Kyle Pitts and Jonnu Smith. Yeah, we don't talk about Jonnu Smith enough. That dude was a revelation last year. He played really well. That's why I said we wasted so much talent last year. I mean, somebody had to get fired. For all of that talent we wasted, I don't want to hear no excuses. We wasted a lot of talent last year. Guys really weren't even being used consistently. My bad, y'all. I didn't drop myself out. Yeah, man, but I'm just scrolling here. Let's see. Michael W says, you do you think CP will still be here or a salary cap cut? Would like to see him with Zach's scheme. I don't see CP coming back, to be honest with you. I really don't see CP coming back. I mean, unless somehow, some way he has some type of relationship with Raheem Morris and the guys that are on the staff, I don't think he's coming back. I really don't think he's coming back. I would like to see CP back, but if he does come back, it'd probably be like on a 1 year deal. But I don't see it happening. Unfortunately, I think he should come back because he still didn't get enough burn to me last year. He didn't play enough last year, but I don't know if they'll bring him back. And Prince Kell says, what type of offense you see us running, Drew? I really think it's gonna be like similar to what the Rams run. It's gonna be a lot of three wide receiver sets. I think it's gonna be a lot of get the ball out your hands quick, whoever the quarterback is, allow these guys to get the yak yardage after catch, similar to what you see with like the 49ers and the Rams. It's the reason why Puka had all of those yards because they were just hitting him on short routes, and he was able to run with the football. So I really feel like it's going to be a lot of that this year. Guys like Bijan going to get a lot of swing passes. I think they're going to use the running game, the stretch runs and things of that nature to open up the pass. But I think it's going to be a lot of slants, it'll be at times some go balls and like some over routes and stuff like that. But I really feel like they're going to have to bring in some more speed on the wide receiver side. So I wouldn't be surprised if they bring back like a Scotty Miller, or if they draft a Lad McConkey. They're gonna have to draft somebody or bring in somebody that has that speed to take the top off the defense, but guys that can also run those over routes, to open up the shallow. Because a lot of times, if you look at the Rams offense, they run a lot of first and level throws, meaning it's two guys stacked on the top of each other, and one guy's running the shallow route, one guy's running a deeper route right behind it. So I really feel like you're gonna see a lot of that this year, but it's gonna be a lot of quick, get the ball out your hands quick. A lot of those guys that run out the catch. Don't rely on the quarterback to sit back there and hold the ball, hold the ball, hold the ball. Because I really feel like that's where a lot of mistakes came when it was Desmond Ritter. It was when he was holding the ball, overthinking. If you think about the play that he threw the interception against the Panthers, he was running around holding the ball. A guy was pressuring him. He ran and rolled to the sideline. Instead of just throwing it out of bounds or running out of bounds, he tried to throw back across his body, back into traffic. That's the cardinal sin as a quarterback. We've seen that in the Green Bay Packers season with Jordan Love throwing the ball back across his body and causing causing an interception. So, and Mike says, "What do you think Raheem Morris' strength will be?" I think Raheem Morris' biggest strength is his personality. He's a very vibrant person, but I think that his personality with his players, like his relationship with his players, I think that that's his biggest strength. Is he's a guy that he knows how to get the best out of everybody, but he doesn't treat everybody the same. He's one of those guys that he knows what gets guys going. So he's going to be one of those rah rah coaches. So he got the right nickname, Coach Rah, because he's like a rah rah coach where he knows his players like on and off the field personally, but he's the one of those guys that I think will maximize everybody's potential because he's not going to write off any players, or he's not going to be one of those coaches like do it my way or the highway type deal. He's going to understand the veteran player because he's been around the league for 20 some years, but he's also going to be able to relate to the younger guys like Bijan and Drake London and those guys. So I really feel like he's going to be able to bridge the gap between the older players and the younger players. But I think his biggest strength really is understanding what players do best. Because I feel like a lot of coaches don't know how to motivate. And half of the battle when you're in the pros, because all of these guys are making decent money, half the battle is getting the whole team to respect you, not just the offensive side of the ball, not just the defensive side of the ball, not just the veteran players, but getting everybody to be on one accord. So the younger players and the older players, you got to be able to bridge that gap, but you also got to be able to get those players to maximize the potential of every single player that you have. And you kind of seen that, I feel like, last year with the Eagles with AJ Brown. I really feel like the Eagles season started to go downhill when AJ Brown wasn't getting the ball. They started to lose games. I feel like their locker room started to kind of get in an uproar because, to me, their coach doesn't really have that personality where he can control the locker room. And that's something that I think that Raheem Morris is really good at, is he's a very good mediator where he's going to get these guys to be able to all see one vision. And that's hard to do, to get a bunch of alpha males to all move in one direction and play together. So I really feel like that's going to be Raheem Morris's biggest strength. If you listen to what a lot of players have said about him, the Jalen Ramseys, all of these guys that's played for him, the Aaron Donalds, all of them talk about him being a great person, not just on the field, but off the field, and how they could relate to him. And then they also said he's a brilliant mind because he's been on the defensive side of the ball and he's been on the offensive side of the ball. And for the biggest thing for me was hearing Mike Tomlin saying that Raheem Morris is like the best coach he's ever been around, and that he's learned a lot of stuff from Raheem Morris. I thought that was huge because we know how great of a coach Mike Tomlin is. This guy's never had a losing season in the NFL, which is crazy. And he's been in the league, I think, 17 seasons or something like that. Crazy. For him never to have a losing season, that's still one of to me, the craziest NFL stats ever. So for him putting his stamp on Raheem Morris and having nothing but good things to say about him, I think that was crazy. And I'm going to see if I can drop the link really quick. I ain't got long, y'all. So if somebody want to hop on real quick, I can't be on here long, but I'll drop it because I seen Wolf say he wanted to come in here. So I just dropped it in there, y'all. So if somebody want to hit the link and just chat for a little bit, I can probably go over a little bit, but I can't be on here too long. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys, man, joining me. And like I said, I'm gonna be doing this more often on Tuesdays. So I'm gonna pull up on y'all, so y'all definitely. And then I'll do some pop-up shows too, where it'll just be fans, so y'all can just come in here and do y'all thing and talk to me. I won't be running my mouth. I don't know if Wolf's still in the chat. Is Wolf still in the chat, y'all? Y'all let me know. I seen him had dropped something earlier in here. He might have left out though. Let's see. That wasn't too long ago. That was like 10 minutes ago. If y'all still got questions, y'all drop those questions as well. I'll give it a few more minutes. And y'all drop in the chat as well. What's y'all ideal thought on quarterback at the quarterback position? There you go, my brother. What's going on, Wolf?
Drew, I wasn't talking about you dropping a link, but it's all good. I just wanted to show you love, man.
Oh man, I appreciate it, man.
Hey,
What's happening,
show
bro?
you love. Everybody love. I'm here. Listen, all I want to say is this, man. You know, I have my own opinions, but they never being pushed by somebody else. It's always me thinking outside the box. So I respect everybody. I don't really have an issue with anybody in the chat. They talk about I disappeared, this, that, and third. I didn't disappear. It's more of me and Drew, we don't know each other. I don't know Drew on a personal level. I don't know Drew on a personal level. I know Drew as a content creator. I hope and pray that I can meet Drew on a personal level. You know what I mean?
Most definitely.
And it's certain times where the only problem I had, Drew, is that people not gonna say suck my whatever and everything gonna be cool because I'm a grown ass man and
Right.
I don't talk to people like that. And ain't nobody gonna talk to me like that neither. You see what I'm saying? That's the only thing. You know what I mean? I don't got no problems with the AFN crew. I don't got no problems with K Styles, the therapist, nobody. Because if anybody know if there's smoke, the wolf gonna pop up. It ain't no problem for me
Right.
to handle smoke or debate or whatever with
Right.
Mad Mike or whoever, whether it's Smitty, Country Low, Pound for Pound, Falcoholic, we could get to it. Slater, no problem.
Right.
It's whoever, whenever. You see what I'm saying, Jew?
Most definitely.
You know, and I appreciate you dropping the link, even though it wasn't directed to you. I appreciate you. I've reached out to Miss Maggie T, so I can have her on the show. I'm definitely gonna reach out to you to have you on the show because I also want to know about the people. I don't care really about what's going on with the Atlanta Falcons right now. It's all about talking to the people and the different content creators out there who make great content, and everybody makes great content.
Most definitely.
Everybody does. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I wanted to say, man. I can't read the chat, so I don't know what's going on in the chat, but just know that me personally, I'm gonna give respect how I get respect. That's how I always been brought up. You know what I'm saying?
Most
So,
definitely.
and when you go live, Drew, it's always I always tune in because it's hardly that you go live. I knew you was going live on Saturdays a lot, but you know, on Fridays. But you know, as soon as you said 11 o'clock, I'm here because I definitely love the way you conversate and the way you speak, my brother. That's all I'm here to say, bro. So for anybody, wolf solidified at gmail.com. I'm on Twitter, wolf solidified at Twitter. I don't have an Instagram. I don't have a Facebook. Mike has my personal number. He could give it out to whoever he want, and anybody could call me at any time. You know, just don't call me after 10 o'clock because then wifey gonna get crazy on me. But you could call me till 10 p.m. You know what I'm saying? Eastern time. You know what I mean? I'm on New York time all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I appreciate
Hey,
it, man. Talk your
hey,
stuff, man.
Drew, man, you got God bless, man. Have a great day. It's your boy Wolf. Remember to get your life up, not your likes up. You heard?
Hey, man. All right, Wolf. I appreciate
I
you jumping
appreciate you,
on, man.
boy. No worries, B.
All right, man. All right, y'all. So with that being said, man, I'm gonna get ready to jump off here, man. But like I said, man, y'all make sure y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, go over to Wolf's channel, hit that like and subscribe button for him as well. I have it scrolling on the bottom. The heavy hitters, y'all go and hit that like and subscribe button on our channel as well. We're on the road to 1K. I'm on the road to 3K. If you enjoy my content and I see a lot of people, I'm getting a lot of views on my content, but if you enjoy it, hit that subscribe button for your boy. As I mentioned, hit that like button. That helps the algorithm. Share out my content on all the social media platforms. I appreciate each and every one of you guys, man. I enjoy doing this. Next time I go live, I might drop the link so multiple guys can come in here. We can just talk and things of that nature, and the fans can just come in here. Because at the end of the day, even though I'm a content creator, I'm a fan first, man. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys for all the content creators out there, man. I shouts out to each and every one of you guys. Y'all definitely hit that like, subscribe button for each and every Falcon content creator, NFL content creator. Look, I'm a fan of all you guys, man. So with that being said, I have a lot more content coming for you guys. Stay on the lookout for the draft prospect videos. I've been doing a lot of draft prospect videos, getting ready for the draft. Have a lot more content because we know free agency is coming up as well. And you guys give me your thoughts too. If it's some videos that you guys would like me to do that I haven't done, because I am now doing NFL content as well. If it's something you want me to touch on, I definitely will touch on some NFL content as well outside of the Atlanta Falcons. But of course, mainly I'm going to stick with the Atlanta Falcons content because I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan. So I do that in depth. But if it's like big NFL news, I'm going to be doing, videos on the big NFL news as well and things of that nature. But with that being said, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. It's your boy Jew. I'm back. With that being said, peace.